Yo everyone, this isn't my kitchen, but we'll be back in my kitchen soon. Anyway, today we are back with another cooking video. I thought I'd try and keep it simple and make everything with 5 ingredients or less, actually 5 ingredients. There is one small caveat to that. I'm not going to include the oil that I cook in or salt and pepper, so hopefully that still counts. Hopefully you don't dislike my video because I've clickbaited you into thinking it was 5 ingredients when actually I sprinkled salt on something. I mean, it doesn't really show dislikes anymore, so it's fine. I mean, but don't. All right, let's just do it. Weird, indirect intro. Okay, by the way, I'm going back to my kitchen now. I'm somewhere else. I'll tell you in another video. All right, first up we're making chicken and broccoli noodle stir fry. Ingredients as follows: chicken, kecap manis, that's like a sweetened soy sauce kind of thing, Indonesian, I think. Good stuff. Some noodles. I'm using some egg noodles over rice noodles because I think they've got a few extra grams of protein in, which obviously makes all the difference, right? Broccoli, I'm using tender stem, sometimes also known as broccolini. Turns out it's not just Italian for broccoli. And finally, an egg of the chicken variety. So chop the chicken. Let's not show too much footage of that because it's grim. Heat a pan or wok and pour in your oil, preferably sesame because you're gonna get a load of nice flavor from that. Transport your chicken into the pan and then just like fry it a bit. Whilst that's cooking, you can chop your broccoli. This is what chopping broccoli looks like. And then that can go in your pan as well. Cook your noodles as per instructions on the packet. That should only take a few minutes, and drain them and add those to the pan as well. Now for this kecap manis, don't go too crazy because this is more like a dark soy than a light. It's quite thick, so you don't need loads of it. Then give that all a nice little mix around in the pan before pushing it over to one side. A drop more of oil, probably somewhat unnecessary. Crack your egg in and then just scramble it using your utensil of choice. I'm just using chopsticks because they won't scratch your pan unless they're Korean chopsticks, which are usually like silver or some kind of metal. Anyway, then just mix all that together. You might want to chop some of your noodles so they clump together less, and then just dish it out. Easy, tasty, loads of protein, just all around belter. Next up, risotto. Chicken, don't worry, it's not all chicken breast, this is the last one. Garden peas, parmesan, veg stock in whatever form you want. I've got this weird little jelly puck thing. And lastly, risotto rice. Firstly, you're gonna give that chicken a drop of oil and some seasoning. Then I'm gonna stick it into a preheated oven on about 180 degrees. Next, I'm going to prepare my stock. Yours might obviously be in liquid form already or powder form or whatever. I would say if you're using one of these things that I'm using, just use half because I made a slight miscalculation and I reckon it would have been better with half because it's slightly on the salty side, right? All right, risotto rice. I used about 125 grams because I was just making this for one person. Pretty good portion and you'll see that shortly anyway. Throw that in a pan, turn the stove on, obviously. Give that a drop of oil. Mix it around a bit just so the rice is all nice and coated, and then just give it a couple of minutes to heat up before starting to add your stock. My pan was a bit too hot there, so I turned it down a bit because I don't want all of my stock to evaporate too fast before the rice cooks. It's not a problem, you can just add more water, but there's no need for it to be that hot. You're just looking for a nice gentle simmer. Whilst that's all cooking, you might as well grate some parmesan. This is what grating parmesan looks like from 3 different angles. Actually, it's a microplane, but potato. I'm not sure if anyone actually says potato. If you do, that's strange behavior. All right, keep adding more stock every time it's getting low. You'll do this a fair few times before it's cooked, but I'm not gonna show you every time because that'd be boring, mate. When it's cooked, take the chicken breast that you remembered halfway to cover in tinfoil out of the oven. By this time, your rice should be pretty much done or very nearly, so just dump in your peas and give them a couple of minutes to heat through. Finally, add some of your Parmesan into the pan and then keep some back for the end. Again, give it a little stir and then you can just plate it all up. I sliced my chicken breast because it looks marginally better than just sticking a full one on top. Finish with the last bit of Parmesan and there you have it. Just proper good, mate. Alright, next we are making a creamy prawn rigatoni. So you'll need prawns, a chili, this isn't a hot one, garlic, some cream cheese, I went with Philadelphia lightest, and some rigatoni, or obviously your pasta of choice. So we got to chop some garlic. I used a couple of cloves, but some people are obviously of the opinion that there's actually no such thing as too much garlic, so if that's you, do what you want. Chop your chili, definitely at this point wash your hands, make sure not to touch anywhere near any orifice. Pasta, I usually go with 125 grams of dry weight for a standard serving. It's probably a bit on the low side if you're a massive lad, but you know what I'm saying. I expect not everyone is massive like me. Alright, throw that on the stove, give it 5 minutes and then heat some oil in a pan. I'm using olive oil this time. Throw in your garlic and chili. You want a nice little sizzle, but nothing crazy, because if you burn garlic, it's like game over. You have to start everything again, mate. After a few minutes, you can throw your prawns in the pan too. Cook them until they're cooked. Check if your pasta is done by eating some, and then drain that, put it in the pan with everything else. Turn the heat right down and give it a nice dollop of your cream cheese. Mix it around, that'll go all melty. You can also add a drop of pasta water if you want to feel like you're sick at cooking and make it a bit more liquidy. Just if you want. Then just plate it up and finish it with some black pepper. So that was an easy one on it. I mean, they're all easy and tasty and good and nice.
Naughty.
Okay, garlic butter salmon tray bake is up next. This is probably the easiest of the lot, to be honest. So you're going to need butter. I struggle saying butter ever since I said butter once in America. Anyway, that's a tangent. Butter, garlic, salmon, some new potatoes and asparagus. So make your potatoes roughly equal size by chopping the larger ones and then putting them into a bowl, followed by a drizzle of oil and some salt and pepper. Toss it around if you think you're sick, and then put them in a tray and into your preheated oven at 200 degrees. I should probably tell you to preheat the oven before, but I mean, assume you watch this before you start. Most of you probably watching this never even cooking anything, but if you are, thanks. Alright, next up, chop some garlic. This is what chopping garlic for the second time in one video looks like. Stick it into a bowl with a knob of butter. Just mush that around a bit with a spoon until you've got a big lump of garlic mushed into some butter. After about 15 minutes. After about 15 minutes, well, depending how big they are, pull your potatoes out the oven, shove them over to one side of your tray, and then just put your asparagus in as well as your salmon. I'm using 2 fillets because the size of these fillets that you get from supermarkets these days is like an actual joke, and literally like no one's getting big off that. So I usually get it from Costco, but I didn't have time to go. Anyway, more tangents, right? Put a lump of your garlic butter on each component of the dish and then return it to said oven. This is what returning it to the oven looks like. Obviously cook your salmon based on how big it is. I gave mine just over 20 minutes and just take it out of the oven and you're done, I guess. I'm going to show you this finished product in the tray because it's probably more aesthetic than if I transfer it to a plate. So this shit is like literally so simple, you actually can't fuck it up. I mean, you probably can, but it's almost unfuckable. Really fucked that word up. Alright, that's it. Try them yourself. Tag me in your Instagram stories so that I can like view your creations and maybe get a few of your followers as well. Okay, bye.
Hey, hey, team. Joey Lenny is my hero.